My name is H.N. Gibson. I use they, them pronouns. I am a former United Methodist pastor. In July of 2024, I decided to leave professional ministry and pursue some other things for myself. That's a long story that I may share in bits and pieces through this video and other videos in the future. But the main point of this video is to just look back over the past year and look ahead to the year ahead. A lot has happened over the past year, good or bad, everything in between. But I think putting it in terms of moral or ethical questions is part of what is troubling so many of us right now, is that we're just so darn good at putting good or bad labels on things, when some things just are. Now, I'm not saying that they are right or wrong. I'm not saying that there is no justice and there is no sense of morality to be pursued, but rather I'm just so tired of labeling things as good or bad in every aspect of my life. I'm tired of muddling the sacred and the profane, of taking ethical conversations and applying them to everyday decisions. And so I want to frame this personally in terms of getting it together and falling apart. Because over the past year, what I found is that in the process of trying to get it together, I've fallen apart time and time again. I've fallen to pieces and not been able to pick up some of those pieces. There's parts of myself that I feel like I've lost in the past year. And there's parts of myself that I've discovered in this past year. But at the end of the day, there is this myth of getting it together as being the good ultimate goal of our lives. And the reality is that we're all falling apart. The reality is that we aren't good or bad or evil. We're not blessed or sinful. We're human beings. We're just human beings. It's part of our mortality to be constantly falling apart. It's part of our mortality that we just are what we are during the time that we are here, and then we cease to be it. Now, there are people like myself who believe that there is a hereafter, there is an afterlife, that there is something that we go on to and that we don't just cease to be. There's other ways in science to talk about this in terms of our energy that transfers into other things, and our matter becomes different things as it decomposes into the earth, and all kinds of different ways of talking about how we live on after our death. But I think that's getting ahead of ourselves. I think that the conversation of heaven, the conversation of what comes after, that is putting the cart before the horse. Because at the end of the day, what we need to do, at the end of the day, we're another day older. Sorry, I had to get that out of my head. At the end of the day, we are just trying to hold things together, but we're slowly falling apart. So in 2026, what I am hoping to do is, rather than falling apart and trying to get it together and falling apart and trying to get it together and falling apart and trying to get it together, is that I want for myself to practice radical acceptance and to extend grace to others. Now, this is something that isn't new. It's not something that is a novel idea to me, even. I've done this before. I've tried practicing radical acceptance for myself. I've been in years of therapy trying to practice radical acceptance. And I've often been told that I'm good at extending grace to others and meeting people where they're at. But I want to, this year, going into next year, have that be the focus for myself of what I'm doing. Get back to the basics. What does that look like? To start off with, it's learning to hold things in tension with one another. It's learning to hold in tension that I am flawed and that I am enough. That others are flawed and they are enough. And then loosening the grip just ever so slightly and allowing who I am and who others are in my life to slide in and out of my grip. To not try and hold things too tightly so as to break them, in a sense. I also want to stop the comparison games because I am only what I am. I am not what I have, not the objects in my life, and I'm not what others tell me I am. And I can't grasp the fullness of others. I can enjoy their company and relate to them in ways that they allow, sure. But I can't fully grasp them. And if I try and grab onto them too tightly, I might break that relationship, or worse, break that person in some way. Because we are all fragile beings, mortal beings. We are not good or bad. We're all falling apart and trying to get it together. And so I'm also going to bring kindness, honesty, and grace. I'll be honest about who I am, being kind with myself about who I am, and showing grace to the parts of myself that sometimes are hard for me to accept. Also, let others be honest about who they are. You are who you are. And you deserve kindness and grace to be who you are. To not be crushed by the weight of expectations or moral obligations. And then the situation is what the situation is. I'm not exactly happy about the state of the world in 2026. Or really for most of 2025. There's plenty that I could go on a long tangent about and probably will in the future. But for right now, what I'm trying to focus on is that we all get to decide what role we play in the situation and in relationship to one another. We get to decide what we can and will do. That's it. Each of us individually has to make that decision. There's no big bad in your story. Sorry to break it to you. And so my final thing that I'm going to do, and what radical acceptance and extending grace looks like to me, is I'm going to do what brings me joy. One, I'm going to write poetry. I'm going to write prayers. And I'm going to write liturgies. I'm going to do those things because they bring me joy. I might even paint a little and might share some of those things with you. They're not going to be good, but I might share them with you. I'm going to show up at work, show up for the people in my community that in our local area in Birmingham, Alabama, are experiencing housing instability. Showing up in ways that I can to give grace, honesty, respect, dignity in the ways that I'm able to a person that is sitting in front of me facing an indescribably difficult time. And occasionally, I'll make videos when I feel like it. I'm not going to share stories from work about clients. I'm not going to share stories about my family all the time unless they do something really hilarious or really awesome. But I'm going to make videos that make me feel good. Just talk at this camera every now and then. And then post it on YouTube. If you like it, great. If you subscribe to the channel, great. If you comment on the video, great. If you don't, oh well. I'm not trying to fit an algorithm. I'm not trying to fit into your daily schedule. I can barely fit my own daily schedule. And so I want to leave you with this. In the midst of our getting it together, let us have grace for the times that we are falling apart. In the midst of our getting it together, let us not hold too tightly those things which weigh us down and break us. As we look back at 2025 and look forward to 2026, as we prepare for this new year, may you not be blessed, but may you know that you are beloved. Amen.